Good morning. Welcome to the Crest Network. Today we're going to talk about value-based marketing. Value-based marketing has become a buzzword in the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, and for good reason. Value-based marketing is the difference between, or the difference between, value-based marketing and the obnoxious, overbearing salesperson that is always trying to push his particular products down the customer's throat. So if I can make this screen move. So price is what you pay. Value is what you get. There are an awful lot of people that believe, and this includes salespeople and marketers and business owners, but there are an awful lot of people that believe that the lower your price, the greater the value. And as a buyer of products, there are people that believe that the lower the price, the greater the value that they're getting as a purchaser. And the truth couldn't be farther. Warren Buffett said, price is what you pay and value is what you get. But very clearly, if you analyze that, he wasn't saying the low price means great value. So we're going to talk about really what value is and how you bring value to your prospects and your clients. First off, you have to know your prospects. And I don't mean, oh yeah, I know the person's name. You have to not only know their name, which frustratingly, I talk to marketers all the time who say, well, I didn't get their name. Really? How could you not get their name? It's as complicated and as involved and as tricky as saying, what's your name? And if you knew their name or were told their name previously and you're embarrassed, you're going to have to cut to the chase and just say, hey, I am so sorry. I guess I'm having a bubble in my brain today. What is your first name? And people are not offended by that. And in fact, people typically are honored and they appreciate that engagement and that interest or that moment that you take to ask them their name. Also, as you get older and you don't remember names as easily, sometimes you have to write those names down just before you're walking in the door. You better know their company website. You better have been to their company website. You should have gone to their LinkedIn profile, read what they brag about, read some of the facts and information that they felt was important, and they put on their LinkedIn profile. You should go to their social media pages, their Facebook page, especially their Twitter. Look for them on Twitter. Ask them when you're in front of them, are you on social media? Are you on Facebook? Do you have a Twitter account? Do you have an Instagram account? Ask them and say, what's the handle? What should I look for? And then go in and follow them. Chances are really good that they will follow you back. You should know their position. You should know their role in the company. You should know a little bit about their career. You should know some history about your prospects and your clients. You also should know about common connections. These are the people that you're also connected with on Facebook, or people that you're connected with on LinkedIn. And then last but certainly not least, and I certainly encourage this when you're calling on insurance agents, you really don't need to know what their specialty is. If their specialty is, if they really write all kinds of insurance, including homeowners, but they love to sell life insurance, you ought to know that. If they love to sell RV or motorhome or RV, recreational vehicle insurance, you should know that. If their specialty is in a commercial side, errors and omissions insurance, you should know that. You should be able to comment on it. You should be able to talk about it. That's where you're bringing value to your prospect, your client. And when you know those kinds of details, it doesn't matter very much what the price is. And the more you know about these kinds of details that I've just listed here, the less they worry about price. I tell everybody, I have been saying this for years and years and years, but you need to do your intel, your research, your investigation. You need to Google them. You need to know, you need to understand what pains they're struggling with. I don't mean heartburn. I don't mean appendicitis. I don't mean a pulled muscle. I'm talking about their pains as it relates to their business and their industry. What's going on in the insurance world that is likely a pain for that agent? You ought to know that. You aren't credible if you're just walking in there with a pretty face and say, hey, what's up? It's far more than that. You need to identify the issues that they're struggling with within the insurance industry. If you're calling on insurance agents, if you're calling on plumbers, what are they struggling with? Are they struggling with sending their guys into homes to do work and struggling with wearing masks? Are they struggling with how to reassure their customer that they're safe or free from COVID? Are they struggling to let the customer know that it's safe to let them in the home because they're not a murderer? How do you do that? We just had an air conditioning service checkup the other day, and like within 10 minutes after we scheduled it, we got a text message with a picture of who was scheduled to arrive and the estimated time. The next or later that day, I guess, when they were due to arrive, we got a text message from the company, not only with the technician's picture, but with a very short bio about that technician, so that we as customers knew a little bit about this guy. That gives you a different feeling about the company, and it gives us as customers a different feeling about that technician. Also, you should know and understand their goals. You have goals. Maybe your goal is to sign a new commercial client to a prep program. Maybe your goal is to get 5 referral jobs this week. Whatever your goals, they're valid. So are the goals of your prospects and your clients. You need to ask them, what are your goals? What are your targets? What are you trying to achieve this month? this quarter, this year. You need to ask them and then understand what their goals are. If you can't be a trusted advisor, you shouldn't be trying to give advice. You see, a trusted advisor who doesn't have any advice isn't a trusted advisor. And you should constantly be striving to be a trusted advisor. The only way you can be a trusted advisor is to have advice for your prospect or your client about things that matter to them. This has been a hot button of mine for, gosh, I'm going to say a dozen years. I have been teaching marketers how to ask questions. I have been teaching them what kinds of questions they should be asking. If you're not asking questions, or you ask the question and then you stop talking and let them answer, if you're not asking questions and then letting them answer, you're talking too much. We all, as salespeople, as marketers, we all tend to talk too much. And one of the ways that we can get over some of that talking too much is to ask questions that are pertinent to their business, to their industry, to their pains. And when you ask them, ask and then clarify so that you fully understand. You also ought to ask questions that demonstrate your research. How do you do that? Easy. After you've done your research and you see that this particular insurance agent that you're calling on has the specialty of recreational vehicle insurance. They love to sell it, or they love to sell motorcycle insurance. You should have a question related to that topic. In other words, hey, I saw that one of your specialties is motorcycle insurance or recreational vehicle insurance. How do you do with that? Is that been a really good niche for you? It just simply demonstrates to them by your statement that you did some research about them and saw what their specialty is. It demonstrates to them that you're paying attention. And if you hit their hot button on what their specialty is, guess what? They like the fact that you're paying attention. They like the fact that you're interested. You should ask, and I guess this is obvious, but I wrote it in here anyway. You should ask open-ended questions. And open-ended is who, what, where, when, why, and how. A little less on the why, but open-ended questions enable the client or prospect to respond with something other than yes or no. It also enables you to gather valuable data when you ask those open-ended questions, because they almost inevitably will share with you more details when the questions are open-ended. This enables you to establish trust. It enables you to establish credibility. Now, let me be absolutely clear here. If you don't establish trust with your client, and I don't mean you've been in there 48 times so they trust you. No, they trust you to show up, but that doesn't mean they trust you. In fact, they may distrust you. But when you establish trust and credibility, they will likely be willing to either do business with you or be truthful with you about why they can't or won't do business with you. Either answer is valid, because if they are honest and trust you and feel that you're credible, and they share that they can't refer you, that enables you to take them off the list and move on down the road. If they share with you that they won't refer you because they're best buddies with your competitor, that's also good information. You can take them off the list and devote your time more practically to other potential clients and prospects. You also need to give them a reason to refer you. It's more than just simply asking for the referral, but that's necessary. If you don't ask, you don't get. We've said this over and over and over again. But I encourage you to tell them why you want the referral. Why would you want a referral from an insurance agent? Well, you can, tongue in cheek, be smug or smirking and say, well, it's because we need the job and we need the money and we want to do the work. Okay, well, that's probably the obviously stated portion. But maybe you say to them, look, we'd like a referral from you because, here's the why, because we want to show you how we can make you the hero. We want to show you how we can help you with client retention. We want to show you how we can convey to your plumbing customer that you as a plumbing company are an awesome plumbing company. That's telling them why you want the referral. Excuse me. Your reason for wanting that referral should be about wanting to enhance them or their end user, their customer. You want to help them or their customer. And you know what? When they refer you, it should elevate the status. It should elevate their status. How and why would it elevate an agent's status to refer you? Real easy. When they refer you and the job goes well, the price comes in the way it's expected, the customer is thrilled, you raved about and put the insurance agent on a pedestal, made them the hero, that automatically raises the status and position of that insurance agent. And that's bringing absolute true value to your marketing effort. I have also said for years, be a specialist, and above all, do not be a salesman. Nobody likes salespeople. Those of you listening to this webinar, absolutely do not like salespeople. You don't like them when they call you. You don't like them when they call you on a cell phone and you answer and they start right out with, hey, I just wanted to let you know your car warranty is about to expire. Or, hey, we've got a great deal between AT&T and your Dish Network or DirecTV or whatever it is. You hate it. It's irritating to you. It's frustrating to you. It's time consuming. It's a waste of your valuable time. And so you should not strive to be a salesperson. And in fact, you should do everything you can to bring value to your client. And one of the ways you bring value is by being a specialist. You don't go to your regular primary care physician and say, hey, doc, you've been telling me about this sharp pain in my head, and I guess probably you should go ahead and operate and see if it's an aneurysm. You're not going to tell your primary care doctor that. You're going to ask your primary care doctor to refer you to a specialist. By the way, specialists, if you didn't know this already, make more money. Specialists are put on a higher pedestal. When I go to a specialist, when my doctor refers me to a specialist, instead of a $10 copay for my insurance, I'm going to a specialist. And guess what? The specialist's copay is $40 or $60. They're getting more money. And so as a specialist, you should be getting them to describe their pains. You should do everything you can to walk in their shoes. You should talk about solutions. Sorry, I just got to shut my phone off here. It kept buzzing on my left shoulder here. As you're talking about solutions, I caution you. You ask the customer a question or your prospect a question, and they start to give you the answer. And you know what we tend to do? We tend to start thinking in our head about what our next comment or talking point is going to be. And we totally fail to truly walk in their shoes. We totally fail to hear what they're actually saying. We've got to get over that. We've got to get over that tendency to want to instantly have an immediate rebuttal to what they're saying. It's really hard to train yourself to do that, but if you can learn to shut up and listen, shockingly, the next thing that you should be saying will automatically come to you. You don't have to have a prepared list of bullet points that you just slam, bam, 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 right down the line, regardless of what they're saying. I also encourage you to use real stories and real examples, real case histories. And it might go something like this. Oh, yeah, we just had that situation last week. Yeah, the customer thought it was on a Friday night. They thought they'd hold off until Monday morning to call the insurance agent. And when they finally called the insurance agent, it had been 3 days, 2.5 days. And oh my gosh, they already had full-blown mold starting. And we highly recommend that you encourage your policyholders to call immediately and start the mitigation, and then get support and help from the agent when they're back in the office. Another current topic or a hot button phrase today is subject matter expert. You see it a lot of times where it's just simply SME. But a subject matter expert is somebody, a marketer, a salesperson, a person who is an absolute expert on a specific subject matter. You don't have to be a brilliant person about water extraction. You don't have to be an expert on removing pet odor from carpet. You don't have to be an subject matter expert about removing smoke odor from a sooted building, but you do need to become a subject matter expert in a couple key things. I encourage you, if you're calling on agents, insurance agents, if you're calling on plumbers become subject matter experts in the general concepts and theme of insurance. Policyholders, subject matter expert on homeowner policies, know the difference between an HO3 and an HO5. Know the difference between know what E&O insurance is. Know what BI or business interruption insurance is. Know that an insurance agent refers to their policies as products. Yes, they do. Become a subject matter expert in one or two really key things, and ideally those key things for you to be a value-based marketer. It really should be subject matter expert about things related to the types of clients you're calling on. We learned this in the Restoration Marketing Specialist certification course. But every single interaction that you have with a client or a prospect needs to have an LBR. It needs to have a legitimate business reason for every single phone call, every single text, every single visit, every single video message that you send out. It better have a legitimate business reason. You better be delivering a Maven article every single time. Folks, a Maven article, I believe most of you know this, and for those that are going to watch this later on as it's being recorded and you'll watch it later, you need to know that if you are a Crest member, you have access to a massive library of Maven articles. And they're on topics such as, I'm going to rattle them off to you here. There are a couple dozen on churches, a couple, there's 5 dozen, 60, 70 on general commercial industry. Healthcare, there's a couple dozen. Hospitality, there's 3 or 4 dozen hotels. Insurance agents, there are, according to this list, 63 Maven articles, all different for insurance agents. Nursing home, there's more than 2 dozen. Property management, there's a dozen. Plumbers, there's more than a couple dozen. Schools, colleges, and universities, there are a couple. And so you have no excuse to come up with a Maven article, a different one every month at every legitimate business visit. And you should be tracking all of that information, those notes, those details in a CRM, customer relations management software. I hope your company has one. Back to the LBR, the legitimate business reason for a visit. A legitimate business reason is never, hey, how you doing? Just checking in. That's just bogus. First off, that's a lie. You're not just checking in, you're checking up on them. You're trying to insert yourself in their space. You're trying to get top of mind with them, but that's a bogus bullcrap way to have an LBR, a legitimate business reason for the reaching out or the touch. Don't say that. Don't say just checking in. If you plan on visiting them and you call them, don't say, I'm gonna be in the neighborhood. I want to stop by and say hi. Don't just pop into an insurance agent and say, hi, I was in the neighborhood. Bull crap. You weren't just in the neighborhood. You planned to be in that neighborhood so that you could go and visit them. That gonna be in the neighborhood, or hey, I was just in the neighborhood, is a lie. It's bogus, and they know that it's a lie. And that just destroys your credibility, your believability. They just simply suddenly have not quite so much trust in you. So please don't use those bogus phrases. Please embrace the Maven article concept. For those of you who need the reminder, Maven means trusted advisor. Maven means that go-to person. Maven means that you're bringing them something of use or interest related to their business, their pain, their challenges. So take them a Maven article. You can create them on your own, but we have hundreds upon hundreds of them already created in a library, formatted nicely in a Microsoft Word with colored headings and great photos or pictures or graphics in them. So save yourself that time. Your time's too valuable to be creating Maven articles. And please stay real. Stay human. Don't be fake. Learn how to demonstrate empathy. Empathy isn't quite as easy as just saying, oh, I'm so sorry. You have to be real about it. You have to be sincere. You have to be honest. You really, truly have to care. It's kind of like the girl in this picture here, where she really feels sad, bored, disinterested, unhappy, but she puts on her fake smile face to try and convince you otherwise. Learn how to demonstrate true, sincere empathy. Understand what their pains are, their headaches, their challenges, their frustrations, and then offer real solutions to those. Maybe their pain, and I'm pulling one off the top of my head here. Maybe their pain is client retention. They're frustrated at how people are shopping constantly to save 5 cents, or they're spending 15 minutes to save $500 or more as the commercial goes. Offer real solutions. Offer ways to your insurance agent that they can retain those clients. And there are lots of ways for you to help them do that. Ask me about it on our next coaching consulting session, and I'll give you some ideas about ways to bring real solutions to them. People buy based on how you make them feel. If you make them feel really good, they are more in tune to you. They are more receptive to you. They will listen to you better. And the more or better you make them feel, the more emotionally invested they are in you and what you're offering. And how many times has it been said, people buy based on emotion, and people, after they have made the purchase, rationalize the decision with logic. But they buy based on emotion. So learn how to be genuine. Learn how to insert yourself into their struggles, their feelings, their emotions. Learn how to walk in their shoes just a little bit. That's a way that you can embrace and demonstrate empathy. Act interested in what they're saying. And yes, it isn't a misspelling. Act interesting. Who wants to talk with somebody? Who wants to do business with somebody? Who wants to engage with somebody who is not interesting? They're just plain boring. They're dry. They have no sense of humor. Please learn how to be interesting. Listen with the intent to understand. I already addressed this a little bit a couple slides back, but quit worrying about what you're going to say next. Be aware of your own body language. You know, if you've got your arms crossed like this, you're shutting them out. Be aware of your body language by being aware of their body language. Remember, it's been said many times, but it's appropriate. Mirror their body language. If they're standing there with their hand on their chin, it's okay to stand there with your hand on your chin. If they're standing there with their hands behind their back, stand there with your hands behind your back. If their feet are spread and planted a little bit apart, a little bit further than their hips, do the same thing. If they're talking softly, you also should talk softly. If they're smiling, you should be smiling. Mirror their body language, their speech, their tone. That really matters. And the better you are at that, the more interesting you become. And by doing that, you're demonstrating to them that you're interested in what they're saying and doing. And whenever they make a comment to you, acknowledge the comment and ask a follow-up question. If they say, yeah, boy, it sure is raining cats and dogs out there right now, in which, by the way, folks, just moments before we got on this webinar, I thought we were going to lose our internet because we had a horrific rainstorm coming down for a little bit. As is typical here in Florida, we'll get 2 inches of rain in 20 minutes. It's hard for me to comprehend coming from Ohio. Respond to their comments with more comments. When they say, my gosh, it's raining like crazy, instead of saying, yes, it is, well, that's kind of boring. Say, did you have plans for later today? Or did you, with all this rain today, Friday, if it's Friday, with all this rain, did you have plans for this weekend? Is this rain going to screw up your plans for your cookout or whatever? Follow up and respond to their comments with more questions. The more questions you can answer, the more it demonstrates to them that you're listening, you care, you're paying attention, and they like that. Here's a challenge for you. This is an exercise that we ask when I do coaching at a client's office and I'm sitting with a group of marketers and owners and GMs and office managers. I ask them to take a piece of paper and write down the 5 ideal traits or the 5 ideal client types that you would prefer to do business with. In other words, what kind of client makes them your ideal client? And it's okay if you write down a client that doesn't give me any crap, a client that pays their bill immediately. That's okay, because we all know with a smile, those are important. But really, what constitutes your ideal client? It should be in writing. You should write down what makes your ideal client. And if you are doing business with a client, let's say a plumber who is an absolute nightmare, pain in the you know what, they have sent you 20 referrals in the last 2 months, and not one of them could you close. Not one of them was legit. Not one of them was the kind of job that your company was looking for. Are they really an ideal client? Either you're going to have to retrain that plumber or eliminate them from your list. Who do you really want to do business with? What does their profile look like? What constitutes a really good prospect or customer? And then if you've got that list of traits that make an ideal customer or an ideal client, write out on a separate sheet of paper what you can do to meet those expectations. Identify what you really truly offer to your clients. You know what? Every restoration contractor, every water damage removal company in your market can suck water out of somebody's home. Everybody can. They all do it in varying degrees and efficiency and professionalism, but they can all do it. So the question is, what do you really offer your clients that's unique and different and betters the client or the client's client? You need to list those things. That might be for the plumber that you make sure that that end user homeowner understands that that plumber is the most awesome plumbing company ever, or your insurance agent that referred you on a job. That policyholder should know that that insurance agent is or should be on a pedestal. They're the hero. They're the hero. Why? Because they knew enough, and they knew that your water damage in your home was important enough that you as a policyholder needed a really good contractor. That's what you're doing to really offer legitimacy to your client. And then whatever you plan to offer, is it what they really want? Is it what really matters to them? I want to talk about the word want for just a second. I put it in capital letters more as a reminder for me to mention this, but there's a saying that people buy based on wants and they buy based on needs, or they refer you as a contractor, they refer you based on what they want to happen or achieve, or what they need to happen or achieve. When you go to the store to buy milk, you usually buy it because you need it, because there's something specific for it. We have a little 2.5-month-old little boy that our daughter fosters, and he's here every night in our house. We need milk, or we need Similac, we need formula. We need that. There isn't any question. That little baby needs that. But people also have wants, and the wants are more, okay, they want a car and they want a red one, but they don't need a red one. They want a new pair of shoes. Sorry, ladies, but do you really need it? Yeah, well, okay. You might think you need it, but there are differences between want and need. And your want is what you should be appealing to for your client. And when you appeal to and provide them what they actually want, it ends up becoming what they really needed after all. It's kind of tricky to follow that, but give them what they want. And then it becomes that they need that. They need that over and over because you've given them what they want. You've made the policyholders love them. And so now they need it more and more and more. Okay. Have a cause. Most restoration companies, carpet cleaning companies, roofing companies that we work with have a cause. They have a community charitable interest. There's something that they are interested in. We have a client that's a major fanatic about supporting the Susan G. Komen Cancer Foundation. We have somebody that supports a camp for children, underprivileged children. We have somebody that supports a food drive. There are many, 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 many charitable and legitimate community causes, and you should seriously embrace that and make it a key part of what you do and promote and talk about. I will caution you, you really shouldn't have more than one, maybe one major and one minor one. To have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of them throughout the year waters you down. It exhausts too much of your time, effort, and money, and you lose the impact. Statistics. This was a survey that was done pretty recently. Remember, there are roughly 330 million Americans in the US. 275 million of them expect your company to support a charitable cause. That's a pretty high number. 85%, regardless of the struggles you have in good customer service, 85% of consumers have a much more positive image of your company or the product that you offer if you are supporting a charitable cause. So consider, as part of bringing value-based marketing to your client base, promote your cause and promote your company's social responsibility. I think most of you that have attended my event over the years, or my events, been in my classes, I am a fanatic about differentiation. I am a fanatic about how you have differentiation. I'm a fanatic about how important it is for you to exercise and demonstrate that you are different. And the reason is very simple. Everybody, as I said a few minutes ago, everybody can extract water from somebody's home. Everybody can suck water out of the carpet. Everybody can, in varying degrees, dry the structure. Everybody can be sweet. Everybody can be kind. Everybody can be nice, in theory. But if you can't demonstrate differentiation, you can't demonstrate any real value. You, as a marketer, must learn and practice differentiation in order to be considered a thought leader, in order to be considered a trusted advisor in order to be considered a subject matter expert. And in fact, you can become you demonstrate differentiation by becoming a subject matter expert. Only 31% of buyers feel, this is less than 1/3 of your customers out there think there's any differentiation from one vendor to the next. If there are 3 customers, only one of them feels that there's difference between one water extraction company and another in your community. If you want to ratchet those numbers up, if you want to take a significant market share, be different. I've talked about differentiation, and in conjunction with that, I've talked about personal branding. I'm surprised at how many marketers don't tackle personal branding and create it and embrace it. In our upcoming RMS certification course next week in Orlando, some of you have already attended, some of you will be attending. We're going to talk at length about both differentiation and personal branding. Folks, it matters. It really does. So, how does your value-based marketing help their customer? The offering must be valuable to your client's client. If you did hear me correctly, your offering, whatever you're doing, must not only be valuable to the insurance agent, but it must also be valuable to the policyholder so that they really, truly appreciate the insurance agent. Your offering has to be valuable to the plumber and to the plumber's customer. If it ultimately only benefits your immediate client and doesn't benefit your client's client, then you're on the wrong track. Value-based marketing is where it affects each touch all the way down the line to the ultimate end user. And you as a marketer should at least bring enough subject matter expertise to your client that they can share it with the ultimate end user. To build successful relationships with today's customers, I'm going to read it because I want it to really sink in with you. To build successful relationships with today's customers, your insurance agent, your plumbers, your carpet cleaners, your roofing companies, your fire sprinkler companies, and on and on and on, your hotels, your nursing homes, your churches, your daycare centers. Your company must inwardly and outwardly express and demonstrate with authenticity what you stand for and why you stand for it. I'm going to read it through one more time. I'm hoping you'll close your eyes and think about it. To build successful relationships with today's customers, companies must inwardly and outwardly express and demonstrate with authenticity what you as the company stand for and why you stand for that. Your products and services aren't things, folks. They're not things. They're not items to mark on a checklist. They're not things to put on a shelf. Your products and services in our industry in the roofing, carpet cleaning, restoration, water damage, mold cleanup, trauma and death scene cleanup, fire and smoke services. These products and services aren't things. They're real, tangible products and services that affect your client, your policyholder clients. They impact their lives. The very best that you can do is to make the experience fun, make it easy, and make it valuable. I'm Dick Wagner. I hope this has been useful to you. Later tonight, it will be finalized, the recording, and it will be on the Crest Network in the webinar section. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.